Now that Wally West is the brand new Flash, it's time for him to figure out how his life is supposed to work. How can you be a superhero without a job and support a family? This is the Comicstorian channel, where I take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues, and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. To keep it short, guys, this is a synopsis of these issues, allowing you to get some of the context and understand what is going on in the world of comic books. If you want to get more, go to your local store or go to your local digital retailer to get your hands on these issues. Today we're going to be covering Flash 774 and 775. And like I said, when we last left off, Wally West was the official new Flash, so time to figure out his life. This is issues 772 and 773. After finally returning to the present and getting his body back, Wally returned to his home when he and Linda realized a very, very important problem on their hands. Well, more so for Wally. He looked over the bills, stating no. She tells him stating no isn't going to make them go away. Perhaps they should ask one of his billionaire friends to help. Wally tells her no, he could never do that. It just feels weird. Besides, this is supposed to be a new beginning for Wally West. He's gonna get a job, like a paycheck-paying job. Today! He's not gonna even surf the net, he's gonna go old school, knocking on doors, finding out what's available. He searches around Central City trying to find himself a job, and after many, many rejections, eventually lands on Speedy Lube, where he's not exactly known for being speedy. He's already getting accosted by a woman who tells him that he said it would be a couple of minutes and it's been over an hour. The girls of the Bridge Club are going to hear about this. It's at that moment that Mr. Terrific pulls up in a red sports car asking, what does it take to get some help around here? Wally's a bit confused, asking if he needs an oil change, but Mr. Terrific explains to him that no, he came to see where the legendary Wally West ended up landing. Mr. Terrific tells him that he knows this job is great. That's why he bought the entire Speedy brand. Speedy Lube, Speedy Mart, Super Speedy Dating. But he's actually here to offer Wally West another job. Being a man that runs many successful businesses means hiring the right people for the right job. And Wally, you don't belong here. He tries to argue with him back and forth. He tries to tell him that he doesn't want a handout, but Mr. Terrific tells him that this won't be a handout. He's not stupid. He has a better use for Wally than changing oil. So he brings him into the lab where he introduces the lab to their new engineer. His name is Wally West, and he's not only a friend, but someone that you could trust your life with. Wally, this is Marcy Thomas and Stevie. I'll leave you guys here to get acquainted. Wally tries to catch up with Mr. Terrific. He tries to explain to him that he doesn't belong, but Mr. Terrific tells him that's the thing about being the boss. He doesn't care what other people think. Even though they are scientists, Wally is a mechanic, a hero, a father. He isn't just one thing. He's more than a person that can move at the speed of sound. They're trying to learn more about the multiverse, and what would be the best way to start figuring that out than have somebody like that on the team. So Mr. Terrific then hands him a check, telling him this might convince you to stay as well. And Wally just laughs. You've got to be kidding. But Mr. Terrific continues. That'll keep you in sneakers for a few years. At that moment, his watch beeps and he looks at it, stating that there's a fire downtown. Wally stops. Can I go? And Mr. Terrific tells him that another perk of working here is that he can cut out whenever he needs to. Just tell the others that Mr. Terrific has him on a special assignment. So Wally races out of the building downtown towards the fire and sees the firefighters already on scene trying to put out the hospital fire. After a quick run through, he manages to get everyone out of the building, but then realizes that there's still someone left inside. He runs up the side of the building, jumping through the window, calling out to whoever it was that he saw. But that's when he's kicked in the back and a voice tells him, long time no see. Wally looks back to see Heatwave telling him, I wish we could chat. But your old pal's got things to do, Flash! Wally begins to get back up when suddenly the floor gives way and he catches himself on the level below. He looks up to try and get back to Heatwave, but the ceiling begins to crumble, so he runs out. He realizes that there's not much he can do at the moment, so he heads back to work, trying to think about what was Heatwave even doing. Mick supposedly hung up the gear and decided to go straight. Something's wrong. As he returns, he sees his three co-workers standing around a blackboard, all arguing over which of their calculations are correct. Marcy says that they have too much energy. Stevie says no, it's not too much energy, it's not enough conductivity. And Thomas asks if that's the case, why are the rods melting? Wally looks at the formula, telling them that it's the metal. It looks like they're using aluminum. Thomas tells them they are for conductivity. And Wally continues to state, sure, but to create the energy for this sort of temporal distortion, we're going to need something stronger. As it stands now, the energy that you're putting out is going to burn through those rods in a heartbeat. Might I suggest switching out the aluminum for copper, or even silver if we can get a hold of some. I did something similar with a treadmill and it seemed to do the trick. Marcy asks, treadmill? What did you say your name was again? And Wally laughs. I'm Wally West. I was hired on as an engineer. Marcy tells him great. He can order them the supplies while they go get some lunch. Did you know that you get free lunch here, Wally? As the three of them leave, Wally sits at the computer and orders the copper that they need, but then he finds himself bored with nothing else to do. He spins in his chair for a bit and then his phone pinpoints the report of a fire at the pier, so he hurries back out as the Flash. As he arrives, he sees Heatwave at the end stating, "Hey, I knew you'd turn up, Flash. Now that you're here, it's time to turn up the heat." Heatwave begins to set fire to more of the nearby stands, and the fire begins to race towards a child. Wally runs in, scooping him up, bringing him to safety, yelling at Mick, "That was a kid, Mick! A kid! You gotta crack a few eggs to cook an omelet!" Heatwave then goes back to adding to the fire, with Wally jumping over the ledge, catching himself on the water, creating a giant water tornado, sending it crashing down onto Heatwave and the fires. As the flames are extinguished, Wally tells Heatwave that he can punch him 100 times a second. Or you could give up, Mick. Heatwave begins to stand back up, looking discouraged and defeated. "It doesn't matter. It all doesn't matter." He takes out a switch. As Wally asks, "What is that? What are you doing, Heatwave?" "Everyone out here is having fun, not thinking about what's going on in the world, the pain, the hurt. They're blind! But any second it can all be taken away. I'll turn to ash." "You paid your dues, Mick. Why go back to a life of burning things down? Why go back to being a criminal?" "'Cause it's the only way people will understand what is most important in life, Flash. There's a moment before it all catches fire, where it all seems okay, and then a spark, and all you took for granted is gone. But it's a blessing too, a baptism by fire. Really clarifies what's going on. That's what I'm giving them all. Clarity. I'm showing them what's important." Wally pauses and remembers that Mick was at the hospital. "You're sick, aren't you? People said that for years. But this time, they happen to be right. So why not just blow everything up? It doesn't matter. It's just a series of events. What's one more? Instead of putting up so much effort into burning things down." Wally stops him. "No, you're wrong. Life isn't an accident. It has purpose and meaning. And what that is, well, that's up to you. Instead of putting so much effort into burning things down, maybe it's time for you to build things up. You've done it your way for so long, and that's how you got here. Maybe it's time for a change? I don't know." But Wally extends his hand. "I'll help. I swear." Heatwave struggles, and then he lets go of the switch, shaking Wally's hand. He's taken away, and the officers question why Wally would even do that. Why would the Flash be nice to a villain? Wally explains that his job isn't just to save people, but to inspire them. How else do they change the world? And then Wally is reminded of how late it is, so he takes off at lightning speeds. At the lab, he puts together the parts that he ordered, and Stevie comes back stating that he's impressed. They weren't even gone that long. And Thomas says that they were at the dining hall for a couple of hours. "Anyway, why don't you take off for the night, Wally? We can handle things from here." Wally tells them all that he appreciates it and that he's gonna go pick up dinner for the family. As he's heading out, they ask him what he's getting, and he explains, barbecue. And there you have it, the true beginning to Wally West as the Flash. Now, if you missed last episode, that was when Barry passed the mantle to Wally West. And for those who don't know, Wally West has been an on-again, off-again Flash for a very long time. We're going to keep following the Wally West storyline right here at Comicstorian, so if you want to know what happens next, turn on your notifications, press that subscribe button, and hit like. This one was a bit of a simpler storyline, but the very next one has him traveling through the multiverse again, going to Gem World, and we're going to be getting to that very soon. Make sure you go pick it up yourself if you want to see what's happening. It's 774, it's 775. I'll see you guys next time.